Folks, welcome back to another episode of The Locals. My name is Ryan Glatzhofer, and on this show, I'm going around the Chicagoland area spotlighting courageous entrepreneurs. And today, I have a great guy with me. Please welcome Mike from Mikerphone Brewing in Elk Grove Village. Mike, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for coming out.
One of the reasons why I wanted to interview you was because I was just so blown away by the atmosphere that you've created. What inspired this business?
My dream was to work in the music industry. I was going to use Chicago as a stepping stone to get out to LA.
Sure.
I wanted to work at Capitol Records, do an A&R. I was working in a digital music agency for a while. Then I was working at School of Rock. And in the background, I needed a hobby. So I naturally picked up homebrewing because during my tenure at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, I took a botany class, and it was either grow a garden or brew a beer for your final class project. And
easy choice.
as a college kid, I'm like, I'm making beer. It kind of really sparked the interest. My dad had worked at Miller Brewing, but he was a steam fitter. I was kind of always around beer, knew a lot about the industry.
Interesting.
Never ever thought that'd be my path. I started Mikerphone Brewing back in 2015. The brand actually was launched in the basement in 2010. When I was trying to think of the name, I wanted to just kind of showcase who I am. Mikerphone is why the spelling of Mikerphone.
Nice.
We coined the term craft beer inspired by music. A lot of the stuff you'll see around here is, posters from my days in the industry or selling guitars. All the beers have some kind of musical reference. It's kind of become the soundtrack of our lives. And in that first year, we were contract brewing out of a place called Slapshot. We wanted to get our own space. My real estate broker brought us out to Elk Grove Village, and I had no clue what it was. Being from Wisconsin, that was all foreign to me. It checked all the boxes. Industrial warehouse building, cheap rent, and gave us the opportunity to kind of brew, package. 2015, we'd won Best New Brewer in the state of Illinois from Rate Beer. We also won one of the best new brewers in the world. And that just, catapulted us to a new level. And we knew that we wanted to, share our experience with our customers. And we had to do that by opening up a tasting room.
How did you know that you had something? Was there a big demand for it?
I worked in social media. We started building out a fan base. I was selling so many t-shirts out of the basement, it was hilarious. With those first few months of making beer, it was nuts. People were chasing our van around town.
We were chasing your van around.
Yeah, we literally could not get beer fast enough to stores. And by the time we got home that night, stores were sold out already. So it was absolutely bonkers to go through that. And my wife and I, baby stepping us in this thing. We start off with 2 tanks. It's very risky when you throw stuff out here. None of this stuff's cheap to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you don't know what consumers are going to want. And so, we kind of went down a path of making beer that was not very accessible around here. New England style beer, the hazy IPAs, the big adjunct stout, the fruited Berliners.
And that was strategic so that you knew you had something that was different to offer.
It was that, and that's what I was drinking. I was, traveling around the world and had the opportunity to go try these beers, and to see them missing in this market, we knew we could play around and try to make those and bring them out here, help differentiate us. We still try to make stuff that's either at the forefront of what the industry is doing, or play around and create some new stuff and have fun with it.
Who does the artwork behind it? It's fantastic.
The artwork is all done by my 2 friends, Nick and Alyssa. I used to work with Nick back in the day at a woodworking shop, and on break he'd always do little doodles, and one day I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna need some labels. Would you ever think about doing them? And he's like, I'd love to.
It almost reminds me of Liquid Death. It's very vibrant, it catches your attention right off the shelf.
We've have this signature blue now. If you see a blue can, 99% of the time it's our can. There's a lot of beer out there, so we got to stand out as best we can. This is our number 1 selling beer, Mikerphone Check 1-2. The beer was actually supposed to be called Mikerphone Check, checking our brew house in the new place here. And unfortunately, the brew house failed. We had purchased a piece of equipment that was with an old type of electrical system, and it fried our first 2 batches. So those went down the drain, and Mikerphone Check became Mikerphone Check 1-2. We got Smells Like Bean Spirit, so the riff on Nirvana, and we just did a beer with Toppling Goliath called Susu Studio.
It can be tricky to navigate the legalities. How did you approach that in creating this space and working with the town to get this place up and running?
To get Mikerphone up and running in Elk Grove was not the easiest of tasks. Honestly, we're the first brewery in Elk Grove and still the only brewery in Elk Grove. We had to play by some new rules, and so we could only serve so many ounces per day. Me and the mayor linked up on early on was how can we work together? And so I think in that first 3 months of being open here, we threw a charity event and raised money for the VFW in town. Over the years, we continued to do that event and gave money to Kenneth Young Foundation, to Wings,
yes.
to the scholarship fund. Making a difference is more important at the end of the day than making beer. How can we help people on a day-to-day basis? If it's giving them a comfortable place to come and hang out, chat with somebody for a few hours, that's what we're here to do. One of the first things we established for Mikerphone was that we would never be exclusive, we'd always be inclusive. This isn't a bar. This is more of your local neighborhood hangout.
What are some things that you offer?
Each month we've got different things going on, from bingo to trivia to karaoke to pinball tournaments. food trucks. Even though we have our own food, we still want to showcase the local food vendors that we've become great friends with. Special events, or in the summertime, we got them on the patio playing.
Oh, you brought in live bands and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Really?
And then the collaboration between all of us in these industries makes it fun. Just seeing how like-minded people can come together and create new art, or create new projects, and create new beer.
What are some mistakes or pitfalls that you had to deal with?
Try to make a German chocolate cake beer, and there were some issues with it, right? Being able to accept defeat, but then also convey that message to your consumers that, hey, we did make a mistake, we'll take care of it. Also, not get too deep in the weeds on reading reviews, right? You can't please everybody. You gotta feel confident in what you make. And if someone doesn't like it, guess what? Not every beer is for everybody. Focus on positive energy. Negative energy does nothing for anybody.
Right.
If anything, it drives you backwards. Always assume people's best intentions.
For any new potential entrepreneurs that want to dive into the brewery industry, the beer industry, or just in general, with your experience, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I always say when people ask me, if you had to start a brewery today, what would you do? And I say, I wouldn't. Because what I did was I incubated that thing for years before we got going, right? You build a brand, right? Start your story, but then spend as much time as you can reading books, going out and doing seminars or workshops, meeting other brewers, volunteering wherever you can, getting dialed in, building your entire plan out so that when you do open, you're ready to go. We opened this place up, we had people around the block ready to come in here.
No kidding.
And that's not just because we were like, hey, we're a new brewery, come visit us. It was because we had years of storytelling, years of building that brand up, years of getting the message out to people and getting them excited for stuff. And then once the time came to turn the lights on, they were already here. There'd be a line of, a couple hundred people.
Yeah, hopefully in better weather than this.
I mean, they
don't want to camp out in -10 degrees?
Those supporters were awesome, and they'd camp out in rain and snow and sleet and whatever,
Wow,
just because
fans.
they wanted to get that product, because they knew it was very limited. You take every day and you learn from it and see how you can do better. And even though we're 10 years in, there's still so many things we can do to be better.
Where has Mikerphone taken you?
Mikerphone's taken me places I could never have dreamed of, man. Like I said, I've flown all across the world for beer. I've been to Canada, I've been to Brazil, been to Costa Rica, I've been to Copenhagen. We were just in the UK and Scotland. We're heading to Norway in a few months. It's pretty absolutely wild how beer is a universal language.
In your travels, is there any place that blew your mind in terms of experience or the beer, or just maybe culturally?
Costa Rica, they were very limited at what they could get. They didn't have the craft stuff. So, we were very limited as to what we could brew. And in fact, I had to ship down hops and ship down oats to get over there to make the beer that we want to make over there with them. It's crazy to see how different areas have different influence and different styles. When we go over to certain areas, we bring barrel-aged stout. People's minds are blown. We're in the heart of close to bourbon country, so we get the barrels. And it's really cool to understand why how A, they even know about us, and B, what they like to see and what they want to see more of. Usually when we draft up a collaboration, it's like, well, what do you do? What do we do? How can we marry the two concepts and make something that has our signature on it?
Do you have any specific goals that you would like to meet for this year, or any new things coming out?
Celebrating 10 years is going to be awesome. 10's a big deal. One of our goals right now is to open a second location. We're kind of working on that right now, make an extension of our brand currently. Because right now we're in the middle of nowhere, right? We're in the middle of this industrial park in Elk Grove Village. You got to know where we are. You got to know our story and know how to find us. It'd be great to be in a spot that has kind of a neighborhood feel. We found a great location. We're trying to get that to happen, and stay tuned, and hopefully that all works out.
Do you recall what your first collaboration was when you were just starting out?
Man, I think about that. Actually, yeah. So we were down at Slapshot Brewing back in the day. We decided to make a beer called Pale Popper.
Okay.
And it was my buddy, Beer Me Fitz was his name, he went by, and then Ryan Jacobs and Brent Banks, who they are now Saint Laurent Brewing. So us three got together and made this pale ale, and we threw a party for it. And it was a blast.
This does not have to be your beer in particular, but do you have a favorite beer and your least favorite beer?
My desert island beer doesn't change. There's a brewery in Chicago called Off Color, and they happened to do a collaboration with Miller High Life.
Okay.
And so, yeah, obviously my dad worked at Miller. Unfortunately, my dad passed away, and I'll always remember those days of going down to Miller and seeing him work down there. But they did a really cool version of High Life with using their mixed culture yeast, and created this beer called Eek that is just phenomenal. I wish it was available all the time, and anytime it is available, I buy as many bottles as I possibly can, because it's just that refreshing and that unique and that delicious. And
awesome.
Brings me back to thinking about my dad.
Of course.
Least favorite beer has to probably be Ghostface Killa. It's a beer out of Colorado, ghost pepper in like a Pilsner, and it's just like, I mean, it's known for that. It's known to like be a challenge. Like, can you drink a bottle and how long can you keep it in your mouth before?
You survived to tell the tale.
It's rough, yeah, it's rough, yeah. You drink it to try it. It's nothing that you drink again though.
On that note, I really appreciate your time today. Love the atmosphere that you've created. Folks, thank you so much for watching another episode of The Locals. If you're interested in more content about local entrepreneurs, please hit that subscribe button. It's free to do. We'd love to see you again. See you next time. Thanks. Thank you so much.
Yeah.